Hello and welcome, dear students. Today we are going to begin with Experiments by Louisa May Alcott. It is one of the literature excerpts that we have in our literature textbook. The extract has been taken from Little Women, chapter 11, Experiments. The lesson objective is I can identify the main idea and details. That means to identify main idea and details. Please write this in your notebook and transfer this to your skill tracker as well. And another objective is I can identify the character's perspective. That means how the characters are thinking. I'm able to identify that different characters have different perspective. Another is to identify the writer's perspective, that is Louisa May Alcott's perspective, and then to have developed your own perspective. Before we begin the lesson, we need to have the KWL chart in place. K is what I know, K what I want to know, K the WL, and L is what I have learned. What I know is that what I know from the title is that it is about some kind of experiments, and what I want to know is I want to know more about the experiment. What is the experiment all about? Who conducted the experiment, and what was the reason of that experiment, or what was the outcome of that experiment, and what I have learned towards the end of this lesson, which may take over 2 or 3 days. Then at the end of this lesson you will come back to this KWL chart and you will write what you have learned. You may have learned about the theme, about the outcome, or about the main idea. You may put down over here. You do not write the story over here. And as you are getting ready for your notebook exercise, we'll proceed to the text summary and analysis, the main idea, and then we'll go to the reading and identify the reading part. So I'm pausing over here for you to get ready with the KWL chart. Alright, as you're ready with the KWL chart, you may proceed along with me. The lesson summary, the text that we have over here is the text summary. The lesson what is taken from the novel. We have the extract, summary, and little analysis. The summary is that it's a kind of experiment. The girls had holidays and they were quite bored and they wanted to give themselves time off. That was the kind of experiment. Now this chapter is essentially a twist to the novel, what was going on, and it is a practical between moral values and work. So remember that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, but a lot of play and no work makes a person completely vulnerable to himself or herself and the surrounding. And then we proceed to the further summary of the lesson. We see the idleness, which is between the sin and pleasure, and then we take it to further the girls' virtues and the values, and we proceed further to see how the mother brought the virtues and values back to the family. The mother is Mrs. March. She has 4 girls, and these 4 girls, Jo, Meg, Beth, and Emmy. Mrs. March is the mother, and these 4 girls were having some kind of experiment, and Mrs. March, her attitude was slightly different, so she gave some holiday to the maid because the house was taken care of Mrs. March and the maid, and then that made some difference to the girls. We are going to make a note of that. What difference did it bring in their attitude, and what did they learn at the end of the lesson? It is quite interesting, so pay attention to every part of it. Let us see what was the summary, or what did the 4 sisters do in order to plan or the experiment in the lesson. If we know the main idea or the theme, the backbone of this story, then we will definitely enjoy reading that. So let us see what was the experiment. The March girls, that means that's a surname. These 4 sisters, they get pretty fed up with how much they have to work, especially Meg, she who was a nanny to the 2 little sisters, 2 little children. children, and Joe, who serves as a companion to Aunt Marge. Now they were quite annoyed with the kind of household chores that they were attending, which was quite minor in nature, and the entire household was taken care of by the mother and the cook. The girls decide to take a week off and do no work whatsoever because they really want to give themselves a break. Now they thought that that was the taking care of someone was hard work, and they wanted to give themselves a break. Now this was something little mean on their part because they were thinking of only themselves. They were not thinking of everyone together as a family. So this fact is to be considered, and with this we will read further how we understand each character and how the character's perspective change throughout the story. They rather enjoy themselves a bit, but only so long as Hannah and Mommy are keeping the house going. That means until the mother, Mrs. March, and Hannah, the cook, they were taking care of the house, they were enjoying their life. But then Mrs. March, the mother, was not happy with this kind of experiment what the girls were doing. So the mother, very quietly, she decided to give Hannah a little off. That means go and enjoy your holidays, because the girls are also having some kind of holiday. So now see what difference did it make in the life of those four girls who wanted to take off, who were mean, thinking about themselves only, who thought this little work in the house is not that girl's job or is only girl's job. Either way you can debate on this particular topic. When Mommy gives Hannah some time off and keeps to herself in her room, that means Mommy is also not working in the kitchen or not doing any housework. The girls discover how unpleasant it is to live in a dirty house with no dinner. So that means cook has gone away, Hannah has gone away, and mother is busy in her own room, so the house was not kept clean. Further, with all of their free time, they begin to appreciate free time less. That means they did not enjoy their free time anymore because their surrounding was not clean, the whole house, the cook was not there, the food was not cooked, and less, and they forget about their routine. Their routine was to enjoy their life for themselves, enjoy, feed the pet bird, and just be by themselves. So that poor Beth, who enjoyed her free time less, began to enjoy the free time less. Was the one example we can see that Beth found that she forgot to feed her bird Pip, and the bird Pip dies. In the end, the girls find that it is better to have time for work and time for play. The work time makes the play time feel that much more special. So that means when you do your work and you want to enjoy the accomplishment of the work, then you enjoy your play. That is the outcome of this lesson, and the work and time gives them a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. So I think we have quite understood the main idea of this particular literature lesson that we have, and while the lesson is being read, you are going to take notes. Alright, so you will take down the main points, the new words if you come across, the phrases, the expressions, whatever you don't know, you are going to make a note of it in your notebook, and little later you are going to refer a dictionary and write the meaning. Listen carefully and follow the text. Now the text that I have selected over here is the original text. The text in your textbook might have certain paragraphs taken off. That means it is not there. But I want you to enjoy the story. That's the reason I am sharing the original text with you. Your lesson, your text begins from 3 months vacation, but I am sharing the original text with you. Let us begin. The 1st of June, kings are off to the seashore tomorrow, and I'm free. 3 months vacation, how I shall enjoy it, exclaimed Meg, coming home one warm day to find Joe laid upon the sofa in an unusual state of exhaustion. while Beth took off her dusty boots and Amy made lemonade for the refreshment of the whole party. They were the four sisters, the four names. You can make a note of these four names and in your notebook. And as we come to know something more about these four girls, we'll keep adding in front of their names. The names are Meg, Beth, Amy, and Jo. Let's proceed. Aunt March went today, for which, oh, be joyful, said Jo. I was mortally afraid she would ask me to go with her. If she had, I should have felt as if I ought to do it. But Plumfield is about as gay as a churchyard. You know, I would better be excused. We had a flurry getting the old lady off, and I had a fright every time she spoke to me, for I was in such a hurry to be through that I was uncommonly helpful and sweet, and feared she would find it impossible to part from me. I quacked till she was fairly in the carriage, and had a final fright for as it drove off. She popped out her head, saying, Josephine, won't you? I didn't hear any more, for I basically turned and fled. I did actually run and whisked round the corner where I felt safe. Poor old Jo. She came in looking as if bears were after her, said Beth, and she cuddled her sister's feet with a motherly air. Aunt March is a regular samphire, and she's not, observed Emmy, tasting her mixture critically. She means vampire, not seaweed, but it doesn't matter. It's too warm to be particular about one's parts of speech, murmured Jo. What shall you do all your vacation? Asked Amy, changing the subject with tact. I shall lie abed late and do nothing, replied Meg from the depths of the rocking chair. I have been rooted up early all winter and had to spend my days working for other people. So now I am going to rest and revel to my heart's content. No, said Jo, that's dozy way. Wouldn't suit me. I'm laid in a heap of books, and I'm going to improve my shining hours reading on my perch in the old apple tree when I'm not having I. Okay, so we can see that Jo wanted to spend time reading books. Don't say larks, implored Amy, as a return snuff for the Sampire correction. I'll say nightingales then, said Laurie. That's proper and appropriate, since he's a warbler. Don't let us do any lessons, Beth, for a while, but play all the time and rest, as the girls mean to, proposed Emmy. Well, I will, if mother doesn't mind. I want to learn some new songs, and my children need fitting up for the summer. They are dreadfully out of order and really suffering for clothes. Maybe, mother? Asked Meg, turning to Mrs. March, who sat sewing in what they called Mommy's corner. You may try your experiment for a week and see how you like it. I think by Saturday night you'll find that all play and no work is as bad as all work and no play. So the four girls, they wanted to have their time off and just play. And mother's opinion, she was a little skeptical regarding all play and no work. So she said that you may have that time off till Saturday and you will feel bored that you have just all play and no work. So that you need to strike a balance between the two. So that was the mother's opinion regarding. Alright, we have seen that the mother was quite skeptical regarding they having time off, and she did not want them to enjoy that time with all play and no work. So she gave holiday to the attendant, that is Hannah. Now let us attempt a question. What was the mother's attitude to the plans that the girls had for vacation? The answer could be in the lesson right from the literature with reference to the literature experiment by Louisa May Alcott. It can be said that the mother's attitude towards the plan was not in favor of it. She was doubtful whether the girls should enjoy that kind of time while the maid and the mother worked. It was very mean of the girls to think of only themselves. Thus the mother gave holiday to Hannah, and she also confined herself to her room only and left the home unattended, dirty, and the food was uncooked. She was not in favor of the girls having the time for themselves and banking on others taking care of them. Kindly write the answer in your notebook in your own words. Thank you. And if you are new on the channel, kindly subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you will receive the notification of this. We will continue this lesson in the second part. Thank you.